been building these huts out of found and repurposed materials, and I've been doing this for about 1.5 years so far. I realize that the magic of a theater is that it holds things. So how can I build that kind of container for them? It's more accessible, it's more democratic, anyone feels like they can go in it, but at the same time it can give people a way to have a totally different experience. When I was building number 4, I needed something that was light but would be rigid and would be strong enough to create a roof. And then I came here and I found the wormwood. This is all wormwood. Look at how it grows in this totally disgusting, toxic water, and still it can grow, which is amazing. You know, I thought it's this really interesting space because it's so toxic, but there's some life and there's things that are trying to live, so there's this energy here. And how can that become part of my work and my process? And how does gathering things from this site capture that? Hut number 3, I built that in Troy, New York, which is upstate, and we went out with a van and drove around Troy, and I said, show me all the places where there's garbage. The whole thing was this exploration. What are the building blocks of civilization? What makes us say that this is a civilization? What are the hallmarks of that? And how are we doing with regard to those things?
She's trying to work through it physically, she's trying to work through it intellectually, she's trying to work through it practically with a series of tasks, taking one concept like the hut and applying it to displacement, gentrification, globalization, climate change, because all of those concepts were wrapped up.
You know, I'm a choreographer, so I work in movement and I work that way and I work very improvisationally, and I've been building these huts that way, working with the materials and letting the structure evolve through that physical working, which is exactly the way I make a dance. I see what kind of movement comes out of this environment that I built. You know, it completely affects what you do physically to be dealing with the material, to be engaging in that way. And then there's been this other aspect of choreography, which is about choreographing the public. Like with hut number 4, which was here, my biggest goal was to just reach out to people in the community and have it be a kind of meeting point.
I never know what she's going to do. She can do just the most off-the-wall stuff that you've ever seen.
Jill was trying to arrange a series of community discussions and approached Arts in Bushwick, which is the organization that I co-manage, to collaborate on one of those discussions.
What the hut gives us is a way to creatively deal with those issues of health and housing and poverty and disparate communities connecting with each other in a very creative, interesting way.
No, it's just this way of being human with them, and I think it creates a really different sense than you have in a gallery. In hut number 5, I did this 3-hour work. The show consisted of 9 rituals that I made for the hut, so 9 physical rituals and 18 definitions. And definitions were typed in between the rituals and projected on the wall.
That speaks to our experience more and then creates a more layered experience.
A lot of the work deals with not being a representation of something else, but being what it is. So in this case, if it's a hut in which she lives. But earlier on, she's also doing other things, so it's on both sides of that line.
You know, with the piece ending with everyone coming into the hut, and she prepared this like amazing salad with everything that she'd grown there. It was just this beautiful communal moment where everyone who had been in the space and having their own separate experience, all of a sudden this barrier was broken and we were in the hut together, and then people started talking and joking and laughing and bonding.
There are 2 huts coming up. One is hut number 6, which will happen in the Norwegian Opera House in Oslo in October. I was invited by the CODA International Dance Festival. And then we also have hut number 7 coming up in spring of 2012 for St. Nick's Alliance in Brooklyn.
I think they probably know more about huts in Norway than we know here.
A hut in a studio in Bushwick is very different from a hut in an opera house in Norway.
The site for the hut is the lobby of the Norwegian Opera, and a space that people come to because they want to interact with that building.
Because of the nature of the building and the nature of the performances for which it was set up, I think that there are going to be a lot of challenges, but that's kind of what the performance feeds off of.
Yeah, I'm getting ready. I'm trying to figure out which electronic bits to take and which things I have to take to build with. So I'm going to be a sound installation portion of this.
The performance will be 5 hours and it will have different aspects to it, and I'd like to invite different guests who will come and speak with us every day, so we'll have a sort of like lunchtime discussion in a way that's part of our performance. One of the bigger themes that's been coming out of the work we've done so far there is this question of what is home and what makes one feel at home and what makes Norway home to people in particular. It's an interesting point at which to be doing this project because there have just been these very traumatic events there of violence, and I'm wondering how that will relate to what I do in the hut and how people receive things as well.